Makuta City woke before the sun. The glass towers caught the first light like giant mirrors, shining over the narrow streets where old markets still stood strong. The scent of dried herbs floated through the air. Drums thumped softly in the distance, as if reminding the city that no matter how high the buildings grew, the heart of the ancestors still beat underneath. The narrator's voice rose like a calm wind. In Makuta, the ancestors walk with the living. They see every footstep, every choice, every shadow. They reward the good, and they follow the wicked. Children ran between market stalls, laughing without fear. Young men hurried to offices, chasing dreams as fast as the taxis that crowded the roads. Elders sat under the big iroko tree near the roundabout, watching everything with quiet, knowing eyes. Every day, old ways and new ways stood face to face, like two goats on a narrow bridge, neither fully yielding, neither fully winning. In a small house at the edge of the city, a young man named Tund was preparing for a day he believed might change his life. His shirt was clean but old, ironed many times. His hands shook slightly as he buttoned it. His mother, Mama Folake, watched him from the doorway. Her wrapper was faded, but her spirit was strong and warm like the morning fire. She spoke softly, her voice carrying the weight of many forgotten stories. "My son," she said, "you have a good heart. And a good heart is a lantern in a dark place. Never let anyone blow it out." Tun smiled, though nervousness sat heavy on his chest. "Mama, I will not fail you." "You have never failed me," she answered. "But listen well. Sometimes the road you take will test your heart before it blesses your life." Tund paused, her words sinking deep. She always spoke in proverbs, and he knew every proverb was a warning or a message carried by the ancestors. Before he could ask what she meant, his old phone rang, its crackling sound filling the room. He answered quickly. "Hello." A firm voice responded. "Tundadadeo? This is from Zuri Holdings. Your interview is confirmed for 10 o'clock. Do not be late." His breath caught. "Thank you, sir. I will be there." When the call ended, he turned to his mother with wide eyes full of hope. "Mama, this is it. This job, it can change everything." Mama Folake nodded slowly, though her face carried a mixture of joy and something else, something heavy. "Go, my son. But remember who you are. Even a hungry man must not steal. Even a tired man must not forget kindness." Tund placed his hand on her shoulder. "I will stay focused. Nothing will distract me today." Just then, a strong wind rushed through the doorway, pushing dust across the floor and shaking the curtains. It came suddenly, too suddenly. Tund and his mother both froze. Mama Folake whispered, almost to herself, "The ancestors are watching. Today, your shadow will decide your future." A chill passed through Tund's body. He stepped outside, gripping his small folder of documents. The neighborhood was waking up, women sweeping, men unlocking shops, children chasing each other with laughter. Life felt normal, but the wind had left a strange feeling behind, like a warning wrapped in silence. As he walked down the road toward the bus stop, the narrator's voice echoed again. "Destiny walks on quiet feet. A stranger waits ahead. And the choice Tun makes today will open a door he can never close." Tun did not know that before reaching the interview, before even crossing the old zebra crossing near the market, his heart would face the test his mother warned about. A test that would decide the path of his life and lead him toward a woman whose name carried both fear and respect across all of Makuta. Madame Zuri. Her face was unknown to many. Her power was known to all. And fate was already folding their stories together like threads in a loom. With each step Tun took, the ancestors watched and waited. Makuta City stood like a kingdom between two worlds. On one side, glass towers rose proudly, shining in the morning sun like spears of light. On the other side, old markets breathed with the smell of herbs, smoke, dried fish, and the steady heartbeat of drums. The people said the drums carried messages from the ancestors, reminding the living that the past never truly sleeps. A calm, deep voice seemed to drift through the city. In Makuta, the ancestors walk with the living. They see the steps of every child, every mother, every stranger. They reward truth. They punish hidden deeds. Everywhere you looked, old and new clashed like two spirits fighting for one body. Young people hurried toward offices with hopes burning in their eyes. Elders watched them from wooden stools, guarding traditions like sacred treasures. Fate tied everyone together, whether they believed in spirits or not. In a humble house near the outer streets lived Tund, a young man with tired eyes but a clean heart. His shirt was neatly ironed, though worn from many washes. He sat at the edge of his bed, staring at the small folder that held his certificates. His mother, Makuta Village, entered the room. Her steps were slow but steady, like someone who carried wisdom older than the city itself. "My son," she said softly, "a good heart is a bridge even over troubled water. Never forget that." Tund lifted his head. "Mama, I just want to make you proud. I want this job. I want our life to change." "You have already made me proud," she replied. "But hear me well this morning. Sometimes the road you take will test your heart before it blesses your life." Tund swallowed. She always spoke in proverbs, and each proverb felt like a door opening to a deeper truth. Before he could ask more, his small phone rang with a shaky vibration. He answered quickly. "Hello." A formal voice spoke. "This is Zuri Holdings. Your interview is at 10 o'clock. Do not be late. Bring all documents." Tund's eyes widened with joy. "Thank you, sir. I will be there." When he ended the call, he breathed deeply, as if hope had just entered the room. "Mama, today might be the day everything changes." Makuta Village nodded, but her expression was mixed, equal parts joy and a shadow of concern. "Go with a clean heart, my son. And keep your eyes open. Not every test comes with a warning." Tund stepped outside. The sky was bright, but suddenly a strong wind rushed through the street, sharp, unexpected, almost angry. It tossed dust into the air, shaking clothes on the line and rattling metal sheets on rooftops. Makuta Village whispered behind him, "The ancestors are watching. Today, your shadow will decide your future." A strange chill touched Tund's spine, but he forced a smile and walked toward the road. The neighborhood around him was waking up. Vendors pulling open metal shutters, children laughing as they ran barefoot, women bargaining loudly over vegetables. Life looked normal, but the wind had left something heavy in the air, like a secret waiting to be discovered. As Tund walked, the narrator's voice rose again, slow and steady. Every journey carries a hidden test. And before Tund reaches the glass tower of Zuri Holdings, he will meet a stranger. His choice in that moment will open doors he cannot see and summon spirits he cannot ignore. Far across the city, inside a high building, sat a woman whose name was whispered more than spoken, Madame Zuri. Some said she was strict. Some said she could see through lies like glass. Others believed she walked with the spirits, guided by justice itself. No one knew her face, but everyone knew her power. Tund had no idea that their paths were already weaving together like threads in an ancient cloth. He only knew he needed this job. He only knew he wanted to be a good man. But the ancestors were watching closely. And in Makuta City, every choice leaves a footprint for the spirits to read. Makuta City woke up slowly, like a giant stretching its arms. The rising sun touched the tall glass buildings, making them glow like fire. Below them, narrow streets twisted through old markets where elders sat under wooden shades, grinding herbs, fixing baskets, and telling stories older than memory. Tund walked through the crowd with quick steps. His heart raced, full of dreams and excitement about the interview ahead. Everywhere he looked, young people rushed by, men in worn shoes, women with books tucked under their arms, all chasing something bigger than themselves. An elder selling roasted corn called out, "Young man, slow your steps. The ground is not running away." Tund gave a polite smile, but did not stop. "Baba, today is important. I cannot be late." The old man chuckled. "Ah, that is the city's sickness. Everyone is running, yet not everyone knows where they are going. Tund bowed his head slightly in respect and continued. His mind was full of hope, but inside, there was a small feeling, like someone gently pulling his spirit backward. As he reached the road that led away from the market, he heard the distant sounds of talking drums. They echoed through the air in a rhythm that almost felt like a warning. The narrator's voice rose gently. In Makuta, the youth walk with fire in their hearts, chasing tomorrow. But the elders walk with memory, holding the wisdom of yesterday. When these two paths meet, the land listens. A group of elders sat in a circle near the giant baobab tree, the oldest tree in the city. Chief Kamau was among them, dressed in a long brown robe that touched the ground. His staff lay across his knees, carved with symbols of truth and consequence. He watched Tund with calm eyes. "Look at that boy," one elder murmured. "He walks as if success is already in his pocket." Another elder replied, "Let him dream. A child without dreams is like a bird without wings." Chief Kamau shook his head slowly. "Dreams are good, but dreams must walk beside wisdom. If not, the ancestors become silent." As if the wind carried his words, Tund suddenly paused on the road. His heart felt heavy for a moment. He turned back and saw the elders under the tree. Chief Kamau raised his hand slightly, offering a gesture that felt both like a blessing and a warning. Tund approached him respectfully. "Good morning, Chief," he said, bowing. "Morning, my son," Chief Kamau answered. "I see the air around you is hot with ambition today." "Yes, Chief. I have an interview, a big one. It might change everything." Chief Kamau nodded slowly. "Ambition can lift a man up. But you must remember, speed is not wisdom. A fast river still needs strong banks to guide it." Tund looked confused. "Chief, are you saying I should slow down?" "I am saying," Chief Kamau replied calmly, "that a man who runs too fast may miss the voice calling his name, the voice that carries his destiny." Tund took a breath. His chest tightened, not with fear, but with a strange feeling, like the day was bigger than he understood. One elder added, "The world of the youth grows loud, but the ancestors speak in quiet places. You must listen, even while you chase your dreams." Tund nodded. "I will try, Chief. But today, I really cannot be late." Chief Kamau smiled gently. "That is fine, my son. Go. Chase your future. But carry wisdom in your pocket. For the ancestors watch not just your steps, but your choices." Tund bowed again and continued down the road, but this time his pace was slower, his mind caught between the fire of his dreams and the calm wisdom of the elders. The narrator spoke once more, softly but with weight. In Makuta City, the young run toward tomorrow with hungry hearts, while the elders guard the lessons carved into time. And on this morning, both forces, ambition and wisdom, walked beside Tund, shaping a destiny he could not yet see. As he reached the main street, the wind blew again, brushing against his face like a whisper. The world around him felt different now. Bigger, stranger, waiting. And somewhere far ahead, fate had already taken its seat. The small house Tund shared with his mother stood at the edge of Makuta City, where the modern roads softened into dusty paths. Every morning, golden light slipped through the wooden shutters, carrying the smell of burning charcoal from nearby stalls. Inside, Mama Folake sat on her old woven mat, her back straight, her eyes calm like someone who had spoken with the ancestors at dawn. Her gray headscarf wrapped around her like a crown of wisdom. Tund stepped out of his room, adjusting his worn shirt. "Mama, I'm leaving soon," he said gently. Mama Folake looked at him with eyes that had seen many seasons. "My son," she replied, "a journey without guidance is like a drum without a beat. Sit for a moment." Tund sighed softly and sat across from her. He respected her too much to ignore her call. She placed her hand over his. "You chase work because you want to carry this family. That is good. But remember, a man who runs only with his legs and not his spirit will fall before reaching his destiny." Tund lowered his gaze. "Mama, I just want to make things better. You have carried this home for too long. And you will, she said. But goodness is not only in big steps. It is in the small choices we make. A kind heart attracts blessings faster than fast feet. He smiled a little. You always speak in proverbs. She chuckled. Because proverbs are the language of truth. When the world becomes noisy, wisdom hides in small sayings. She poured water into a small clay cup and passed it to him. Drink, my son. Let your spirit be calm. He drank slowly. The water was cool, grounding, almost soothing. She watched him for a moment, then said in a softer voice, Last night, I felt a stirring. The ancestors whispered. They said your day will not be simple. Tund frowned. Mama, please, I cannot be distracted today. The interview is important. I know, she replied, but listen well. Sometimes a blessing first looks like a burden. Sometimes the road you walk will test your heart before it blesses your life. Tund took a deep breath. Her words wrapped around him like a blanket he didn't fully understand. He stood up, ready to leave, but Mama Folake grabbed his hand gently. Remember, my child, a good name travels farther than a fast man. Let kindness guide your steps. He nodded, his voice low. I hear you, Mama. She leaned back, her face full of quiet strength. Go with care. And know this, no matter where you walk today, the ancestors walk with you. As Tund stepped outside, a sudden wind swept across the yard, rustling the leaves, lifting dust, and tugging at his shirt. He turned back to see Mama Folake standing at the doorway, her hand raised in blessing. Her voice carried through the wind, steady and full of power. Your shadow will decide your future today. Choose well. Tund felt a shiver run down his spine. He didn't know why, but something in her voice felt like a message carved straight into destiny. He tightened his grip on his small bag and walked forward, unaware that her ancient wisdom had already begun shaping the path ahead. Makuta City woke slowly under the rising sun, the light sliding across tall glass towers before settling on the old markets below. Drums rested on wooden stalls, herbs hung in bunches like prayers waiting to be spoken, and the smell of roasted maize mixed with the sharp scent of morning rain. In this city, where the old and new lived side by side, people often said, the ancestors walk with the living. And in Makuta, no one doubted that the unseen eyes of the past watched every step. Tund pushed open the wooden door of the home he shared with his mother. His shirt was neatly pressed, though worn at the edges. His heart beat fast with hope. Today could be the day he finally brought change to their lives. Mama Folake sat by the small cooking fire, her face glowing gently in the warm light. Her headscarf framed her like an ancient queen whose wisdom had shaped the lives of many before him. She looked up as the door creaked. My son, she said softly, the morning carries strong whispers today. Sit with me before you go. Tund hesitated. Mama, the interview. I have to be early. You will still be early, she replied. But a man who runs without listening may run past his own destiny. Tund knew better than to argue. He lowered himself beside her. She took his hand, her fingers warm and steady. I dreamed last night. The kind of dream the ancestors send, not the kind the mind creates. They showed me a path that twists before it straightens. He swallowed. Mama, I don't want anything to shake me today. I need this job. I need to lift us up. I know, she said, her voice full of love. And you will. But remember this. When you help others, the ancestors help you. If your heart stays pure, no shadow can block your blessing. He nodded slowly. Her words always felt like small lanterns lighting the dark corners of his spirit. Outside, the marketplace was waking up. Vendors shouted greetings, children chased each other between modern buses and old bicycles. Makuta City was alive, loud, reaching toward the future while still holding its past close to its chest. Far across the city, in a tall building surrounded by glass walls, people whispered the name Madame Zuri. Some said she was a woman of justice. Others said she only appeared when destiny demanded it. Many worked for her, but few had truly seen her. Her name carried both fear and hope. And somewhere in a quiet courtyard, Chief Kamau, the old community elder, tapped his staff against the ground as he watched the city rise. Makuta changes too fast, he muttered. But truth does not change. And truth will soon test a young man today. Back at the small home, Mama Folake tightened her hold on Tun's hand. My son, listen to me well. Sometimes the road that leads to blessings first feels like a test. Do not ignore the people you meet today. The ancestors do not hide their messages without purpose. He gave her a small smile. I will try, Mama. But I hope destiny knows I cannot afford any distractions. She chuckled softly. Destiny never asks permission, my child. It simply arrives. Tun rose, picking up his small bag. I'll make you proud. You already have, she said. As he stepped outside, a sudden gust of wind swept through the yard, strong enough to make the leaves dance wildly. He paused. Mama Folake lifted her face and whispered something ancient, words carried by many generations before her. The ancestors are watching, she said. Today, your shadow will decide your future. Tund felt the wind pull against his clothes, as if urging him forward and warning him at the same time. He took a deep breath and started walking. Behind him, the narrator's voice seemed to echo through the city itself. On this day in Makuta, a simple act of kindness will shake the walls of power. A stranger will test a young man's heart, and the choice he makes will call destiny to rise from its sleep. Tund moved into the busy street, unaware that Madame Zuri's world and his were moving closer with every step he took. He did not yet know it, but before the sun would set, fate would place him at a crossroads where helping a stranger could change everything, his future, his family, and the city that watched him walk away. Makuta City woke beneath the golden breath of dawn, its glass towers catching the sun like proud spears. Down below, the old market slowly came alive. Drums leaned against wooden stalls, herbs swung from ropes like small guardians of health, and the elders' proverbs floated through the morning air. Here, in this place where tradition walked beside modern life, people believed a simple truth. The ancestors walk with the living. They watched. They judged. They rewarded. They warned. Every step a person took carried meaning far beyond what the eye could see. Tun stepped out from his small family home tucked between two tall buildings. His shirt was clean but faded, and his shoes carried the dust of many days spent searching for work. Yet his eyes held hope, bright, fierce hope, the kind a young man carries when he believes his future is just one chance away. Inside, Mama Folake stood by the clay pot where she brewed morning tea. Her face was kind, but her eyes were deep like the stories carved into ancient stones. She turned as she heard him preparing to leave. Tund, she said softly. Come here, my son. He sighed gently. Mama, the interview is early. I don't want to be late. You will not be late, she replied, patting the stool beside her. Sit. A journey started in a rush may stumble on its own feet. Tund lowered himself beside her. She took his hands into hers, warm, steady, full of a mother's unspoken prayers. I dreamed last night, she whispered. A path long and bright, but shadows walked on both sides. My son, remember this. Sometimes the road you take will test your heart before it blesses your life. Tund swallowed hard. Mama, I promise I will stay focused. No distraction will stop me today. She smiled faintly. Distractions? My son, you talk like destiny listens to promises. Outside, the city street filled with voices, young people rushing to offices, old vendors arranging stalls, children laughing as they dodged shiny buses and old bicycles. Makuta was a place where time moved fast, but wisdom refused to be forgotten. Across the street, an elder approached slowly, leaning on a tall wooden staff carved with symbols of the ancestors. His robe flowed with each step, and the air around him seemed to settle with quiet respect. It was Chief Kamau, the one people called the walking balance. Whenever he appeared, even the noisy market softened. He was truth. He was consequence. He was the voice people feared and trusted at the same time. He stopped by Tun's gate and lifted his eyes, sharp and wise. Chief Kamau said, his voice deep like distant thunder. The young bird prepares for flight. Tund bowed his head respectfully. Good morning, Chief. Today is an important day for me. I know, the elder said. Makuta speaks loudly this morning. The ancestors have opened their ears. Mama Folake stepped forward. He is going for an interview, a chance to change his life. Chief Kamau tapped his staff once on the ground. Change is good, but the heart must remain steady. Tund, remember this. The ancestors do not reward empty ambition. They reward kindness, courage, and sacrifice. The words settled heavily in the air. Tund nodded, though he didn't fully understand. As he turned to leave, a sudden wind swept through the yard, strong, unexpected. Leaves danced wildly, dust spiraled up, and the market drums rattled as if touched by unseen hands. Mama Folake whispered an ancient phrase under her breath, words the ancestors were said to recognize. The ancestors are watching. Today, your shadow will decide your future. Tund stood still for a moment. The wind circled him. The city hushed around him. And even Chief Kamau's eyes narrowed, reading a message only the wise could understand. Finally, the wind died. Tund breathed deeply. I must go. Mama Folake rested her hand on his shoulder. Walk with a clean heart, Chief Kamau added, and when the moment comes, choose truth over speed. Tund nodded and stepped into the busy street, unaware that a simple act waiting ahead of him, a moment most people would ignore, was about to tie his life to destiny itself. As he walked away, the narrator's voice rose like a breeze through the city. In Makuta, fate does not shout. It whispers. The young man walks toward his future, but a stranger waits on the path ahead. In helping that stranger, his destiny will rise. And the ancestors, who see the truth in every shadow, will decide what blessings or consequences follow. Dawn crept gently over Makuta City, painting the sky with soft orange light. The tall glass buildings shimmered like proud guardians of the new world, while the old market, just across the road, stirred with the smell of herbs, the sound of wooden drums, and the whispers of ancient proverbs. It was a place where the young chased fast dreams, but the elders still carried the wisdom of ages. Inside a small, humble room, Tund sat on the edge of his bed, rubbing his tired eyes. He had spent the whole night thinking about bills, about his mother, about the future that always seemed one step ahead of him. He sighed and reached for his old phone, ready to check the time. Just then, the phone began to ring. Tund froze. He stared at the screen. Unknown number. His heart thumped like a drum touched by the spirits. He answered with a shaky voice. Hello. A calm, professional tone replied. Good morning. Am I speaking with Tund Adewale? Yes, this is Tund. We are calling from Zuri Holdings. Your application has been reviewed. Madam Zuri would like to meet you for a job interview tomorrow morning. This position offers a stable salary and full benefits. Are you available? For a moment, Tund thought the world had stopped breathing. Zuri Holdings? The company every young man dreamed of joining? The company owned by the mysterious Madam Zuri herself? I am available, Tund stammered. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bring your documents. And be on time, the voice added before the call ended. Tund held the phone to his chest, eyes wide, heart racing. A laugh escaped him, a weak, unbelieving laugh filled with joy and fear mixed together. He rushed into the small kitchen where Mama Folake was grinding herbs. Mama, listen, he said, breathless. They called me. Zuri Holdings wants to interview me.
She paused.
The grinding stone stopped. Her eyes lifted slowly to him, calm yet glowing. She whispered. The wind of change has finally found our door. Tund hugged her tightly. Mama, this is it. Our struggles, they can end. I can help you. I can give you everything you deserve. But Mama Folake gently touched his cheek, her face serious. My son, she said, voice low and deep with meaning, joy can open a door, but destiny waits behind it. Remember what I always teach you. When you help others, the ancestors help you. Tund nodded impatiently. I know, Mama. But today feels different. She gave him a long look, a look only a mother blessed by wisdom could give. Different does not mean easy, she murmured. Sometimes, the road that leads to blessings first tests the strength of your heart. Tund swallowed hard, unsure why her words felt heavy, like clouds before a storm. Still, hope danced in his chest. He could see a better life. He could almost touch it. Then, without warning, a gust of wind pushed through the window, scattering herbs across the table and rattling the clay pots. Mama Folake froze. Her eyes followed the drifting leaves. The ancestors are moving, she whispered. They hear your name, Tund. They are watching your footsteps. A shiver ran through him.
He didn't know why.
He didn't understand the meaning. But deep inside, something told him the interview was not just a chance, it was a turning point. A door that once opened could not be closed. As the wind settled, Tund looked at his mother and managed a small smile. I will make you proud, he said softly. Mama Folake nodded but lifted her gaze toward the sky, as if speaking to spirits only she could see. Walk carefully, my son. For today, even your shadow will speak for you. And with that, the narrator's voice drifted through Makuta City like a soft, ancient wind. Tund felt hope rise inside him, but fate does not walk in straight lines. The call he received was only the beginning. Ahead of him lay a moment of choice, one that would test his heart before lifting his life. The morning sun rose slowly over Makuta City, casting long golden lines across the mixture of glass towers and old marketplace roofs. As the city woke with the sound of drums, the smell of burning herbs, and the call of traders greeting another day, Tund stepped into the small living room, still filled with excitement from the phone call. But inside the house, the air felt strangely heavy.
Silent.
Watching. Mama Folake sat on her wooden stool, stirring a pot of herbal tea. Her eyes did not leave the swirling steam, as if she was reading messages hidden inside it, messages only the old and wise could understand. Tund approached her eagerly. Mama, I told you. Zuri Holdings wants to interview me. This could change everything for us. Mama Folake finally lifted her head. Her eyes were gentle but deep, deep like the river's elders say spirits live inside. My son, she began slowly, I heard your voice dancing in joy. But tell me, did you not feel the wind shift after the call? Tund frowned. Wind? Mama, that was nothing. Just a breeze. She shook her head softly. No breeze comes without a story. No wind moves without a reason. Her fingers pressed around the warm cup, and her voice dropped to a whisper filled with ancient weight. Tund, destiny is like fire. It can warm you, or it can burn you. But before it blesses you, it always tests your heart. Tund tried to smile, but something in her tone unsettled him. What test, Mama? It's just an interview. Mama Folake stood, walking toward him with slow, deliberate steps. She placed her hand on his chest. Listen to me. The world outside looks bright, but even the sun casts a shadow. Today, you will walk with both light and darkness. And the ancestors, yes, the ones who walk with us, they will watch what you choose. Tund hesitated. Mama, you're making me nervous. She gave a small, sad smile. Nervousness is not the enemy. A blind heart is. She turned her back to stir the pot again, her cloth wrapper swaying gently. Sometimes, she said, speaking as if to the spirits in the air, the blessing waits at the end of a road. And sometimes, before you reach it, the road will send a test, a stranger, a choice, a moment that will show who you truly are. Tund swallowed hard. So, what are you saying? That something will happen today. I am saying, Mama Folake replied, that fate always hides its face. But when it appears, that expects honesty. Remember my words, the ancestors reward the heart, not the appearance. She turned to him once more, her eyes softening. My son, you are good. I raised you with truth. Do not let fear, rush, or pride blind you today. For the path you walk is not just yours. Your choices will echo into tomorrow. Tun took a deep breath and nodded. I won't disappoint you, Mama. But Mama Folake wasn't looking at him anymore. She gazed toward the open window, where the wind gently moved the curtains. The ancestors are watching, she murmured. Walk carefully, Tun. Fate has opened its eyes today. The narrator's voice rose like a distant drumbeat. Though Tun tried to carry Mama Folake's warning lightly, destiny had already begun its dance. And before the sun set, the truth of her words would stand before him, silent, waiting, and ready to test the heart of a young man chasing hope. Makuta City woke before the sun, its glass towers catching the first light like silent giants watching over the land. Down below, the old markets were already alive. Drums echoed softly in the distance, herbs hung from wooden stalls, and elders sat beneath faded umbrellas sharing proverbs older than the streets themselves. In this city, where modern buses rushed past men selling carved wooden masks, one belief tied everyone together. The ancestors walk with the living. Whether one chose to believe or not, their presence was felt in every shadow, in every breath of wind, in every choice a person made. The narrator's voice carried the weight of this truth, whispering like a storyteller beside a nighttime fire. In Makuta, it said, the ancestors reward those who walk with a clean heart, and they punish those who ignore the wisdom of old. Among the millions who moved between the market roads and city highways lived a young man named Tund. He was the kind of soul who greeted strangers with a smile and never failed to help an elder cross a busy road. His mother raised him with a simple rule, taught by her forefathers. When you help others, the ancestors help you. This belief sat deep in his chest, like a seed ready to grow. Tund lived with Mama Folake, his widowed mother whose voice carried the softness of rain, but the wisdom of 1,000 storytellers. Every morning she spoke in the language of proverbs, for to her, life was a river guided by words of the past. When she looked at her son, she saw both hope and destiny. One morning, as the scent of boiling porridge filled their small home, Tund's phone rang. His heart jumped before he even touched it. Hello? Yes, this is Tund speaking. His eyes widened. His breath shook. He covered his mouth. A job interview? Today. When he ended the call, he stared at his mother, unable to hold back his joy. Mama, this is it. A real job. A big company. If I get this, our suffering will end. Mama Folake smiled, but her eyes carried a shadow of concern. My son, she murmured, tying her wrapper tighter around her waist. Sometimes the road you take will test your heart before it blesses your life. Tund laughed lightly, thinking she worried too much. Mama, don't fear. I will stay focused. Nothing will distract me today, nothing. She touched his cheek gently. Good intentions guide a man, but temptation walks faster, she whispered. Remember who you are. Meanwhile, across the city, the name on everyone's lips was Madame Zuri, owner of a giant company that fed hundreds of families. She was a woman wrapped in mystery. People spoke of her like she was both human and spirit. Some said she could sense lies the way others smell smoke. Others believed she was chosen by the ancestors to guard justice in Makuta. No one truly knew her face, because she rarely appeared in public, yet her decisions shaped the city like the tide shapes the shore. And in the heart of Makuta's oldest quarter lived Chief Kamau, an elder whose presence commanded silence. He was the keeper of truth, a man who believed every action carried a consequence. When he spoke, the community listened, not out of fear, but respect. With all these forces moving like hidden rivers beneath the city, Tund stepped out of his home. Just then, the wind rose, sudden and strong. It swirled around him, lifting dust and dry leaves, as if unseen hands were warning or guiding him. Mama Folake's voice trembled. The ancestors are watching. Today, your shadow will decide your future. Tund swallowed, feeling the weight of her words settle in his chest. But he lifted his chin, trying to push aside the uneasiness. I will make you proud, Mama, he said softly. I promise. He walked toward the busy streets of Makuta, unaware that before the sun would fully set, a stranger would cross his path. A stranger who would change his destiny forever. And though Tund vowed to focus only on his dream, fate had already placed its test on the road ahead, waiting. Makuta City stood like a place caught between two worlds. On one side, tall glass towers stretched into the sky, shining like spears of light. On the other side, the old markets breathed with the heartbeat of tradition, drums thundering softly, herbs hanging from ropes, and elders speaking proverbs that seemed to float in the air like spirits. People said that in Makuta, the ancestors walk with the living. Their footsteps echoed in the wind, in the rustle of leaves, in the quiet moments when a person's heart felt heavier than before. They watched every choice, rewarding those who walked in truth and punishing those who strayed. Life in the city was a dance between old and new. The youth chased dreams with fire in their eyes. The elders guarded wisdom like hidden treasure. And fate, weaving itself through the streets, tied them all together. In this place lived a young man named Tund. His clothes were simple, but his heart was rich with kindness. Everyone in the neighborhood knew him as the boy who would carry heavy baskets for old women or share his last coins with a hungry child. His mother, Mama Folake, raised him on one belief: when you help others, the ancestors help you. Every day she reminded him, "My son, goodness opens doors that strength cannot." She was a gentle woman, with eyes full of wisdom and a voice that carried the calm of early morning rain. She sensed things long before they happened, and the ancestors whispered to her heart through dreams and signs. Far across the city, whispers often floated about Madame Zuri, the powerful woman whose company fed hundreds of families. Some believed she could see through lies. Others said her success came because the ancestors favored her. Her presence was rare, her face hardly known, yet her name carried weight like thunder before rain. Then there was Chief Kamau, the elder who guided the people. His words were slow and heavy, like stones dropped into deep water. He believed every action had a consequence, and he warned the youths often. Even a small lie can grow teeth. All these souls, scattered across Makuta, were unknowingly walking toward the same destiny. One morning, as the first sun rays touched the rooftops, Tund's old phone began to ring. He grabbed it quickly, hoping for good news. "Hello." "Yes, this is Tund." His breath caught in his throat. "A job interview? Today? For your company." When he ended the call, he could hardly speak. "Mama? Mama, this is it. A real job. If I get it, everything will change." Mama Folake's smile was soft, but her eyes told another story. "My son," she said gently, "sometimes the road you take will test your heart before it blesses your life." Tund chuckled nervously. "Mama, today nothing will distract me. I promise." She touched his shoulder, her voice low. "Destiny is like a drum. You may hear the beat, but you do not know the song." Tund dressed quickly and stepped out into the morning breeze. But the moment he crossed the doorway, the wind rose suddenly, strong and wild. It lifted dust, shook the leaves, and swirled around him like unseen hands. Mama Folake gasped softly. "The ancestors are watching. Today, your shadow will decide your future." Tund paused. For a moment, he felt something like a warning or a blessing. He couldn't tell, but he nodded, trying to be brave. "I will make you proud," he whispered. As he walked toward the busy road, the narrator's voice rose like an old storyteller preparing listeners for a deep lesson. In the land of Makuta, the wind does not move without reason. A sudden breeze can carry the message of spirits. And on this day, as the wind circled Tund, it carried a sign that his path would soon bend. For the ancestors were already setting a test, one that would rise from a stranger's cry. What Tund didn't know was simple. Before he reached his interview, fate would ask something of him. Something small. Something unexpected. Something that would change everything. And whether he helped or walked away would be the key that opened his destiny or closed it forever. Makuta City woke with its usual blend of old soul and new ambition. The sun glimmered on the tall glass towers, making them shine like spears pointing toward the heavens. But just below them, The ancient market breathed with its own rhythm, drums echoing like distant heartbeats, herbs hanging in bundles, and elders trading proverbs the way others traded coins. People said the same thing every morning. In Makuta, the ancestors walk with the living. They walked in the dust, in the shadows, and in the whispers of the wind. They watched every choice a person made, quietly shaping reward or punishment. The young moved through the city with dreams burning in their eyes, dreams of jobs, money, and success. The elders moved with slower steps but deeper wisdom, guarding traditions that refused to die. And between these two worlds, fate tied everyone together like a spider's web, silent, unseen, but unbreakable. In a small home on the quieter side of Makuta lived Tund, a young man with a gentle heart and tired eyes. He had not tasted success yet, but he carried kindness like a badge. When he saw someone struggling, he helped without thinking. His mother, Mama Folake, raised him that way. "Remember, my son," she always said, "when you help others, the ancestors help you." Tund believed those words. They were the foundation beneath his feet. His mother, widowed but strong, filled their home with wisdom. She saw signs in simple things, in the cry of a bird, in a sudden silence, in the direction of the wind. The ancestors whispered to her soul the way water whispers to the riverbed. Across the city, Madame Zuri's name floated like a legend. Some called her a symbol of justice. Others said destiny followed her like a shadow. She owned a company that fed many families, yet no one knew her face well. She was a woman wrapped in mystery, appearing only when the moment mattered. Chief Kamau, the community elder, was her opposite, visible everywhere. His walking stick was famous in Makuta. When he spoke, people paused. His voice carried the weight of truth, and his eyes saw through lies like fire through dry grass. All these people lived separate lives, but destiny was already weaving their stories together. One quiet morning, everything changed for Tund. His phone rang with a number he didn't recognize. "Hello," he answered nervously. A crisp voice replied, "Is this Tundomoto show? You have been selected for a job interview with us today. Please arrive before noon." His mouth fell open.
Ah.
Thank you, sir. I will be there." He dropped the phone and shouted, Mama, this is it. The job I prayed for." Mama Folake looked at him with a mixture of joy and worry. "My son," she said softly, "sometimes the road you take will test your heart before it blesses your life." Tund laughed lightly. "Mama, today nothing will disturb me. I am focused. I promise." But she touched his arm, her fingers trembling slightly. "Promise, but remember, destiny does not always appear with a loud voice. Sometimes it comes in the cry of a stranger." He nodded, though he didn't fully understand. "Mama, I will make you proud." He stepped outside, ready to begin his journey, but the moment his foot touched the ground, the wind rose sharply. It swept around him, strong and sudden, almost as if invisible hands were guiding it. Dust spiraled. Leaves danced. The air hummed. Mama Folake's eyes widened, and she whispered, "The ancestors are watching. Today, your shadow will choose the path your feet will follow." Tund froze for a moment. He could feel it too, something strange, heavy, and important moving in the wind. Then he took a deep breath and forced a smile. "I will return with good news," he said. But the narrator's voice rose like an elder speaking to a circle of children under a moonlit tree. On that morning, the wind did not blow without reason. It was a sign, an ancient whisper, that destiny had opened its eyes. For ahead of Tund, just beyond the market road, waited a stranger who would change his life forever. And as Tund walked on, Mama Folake's final words lingered in the air like a warning from the spirit world. Words that hinted that a simple act of kindness could either lift him to greatness or lead him into trials he had never imagined. Makuta City rose like a land where two worlds held hands, one made of glass towers that touched the morning sky, the other shaped by old markets that carried the heartbeat of the ancestors. The sound of drums drifted through the air, mixing with the honking cars and the distant hum of busy streets. Sellers called out prices of herbs and spices, and elders sat beneath wooden stalls trading proverbs like ancient treasures. In this city, people believed one truth so deeply that even the wind whispered it. The ancestors walk with the living. They watched silently, waiting to reward good hearts and correct those who strayed. Every day, Makuta showed a clash between old and new. Young people chased dreams in fast shoes, running toward opportunity. Elders guarded wisdom with patient eyes, reminding everyone that a tree without roots cannot stand. Fate, like a wise spider, wove its quiet web around them all. Among the souls moving through the city was Tund, a young man with a gentle smile and a tired spirit. Life had not been easy, but he carried kindness as naturally as others carried breath. His mother, Mama Folake, raised him this way, filling their small home with love and old wisdom. "My son," she always told him, "when you help others, the ancestors help you." He believed her. He lived by her words. And though their pockets were empty, their hearts were full. Far across the city lived Madame Zuri, whose name traveled through Makuta like a riddle. Some spoke of her power. Some spoke of her justice. Many feared her, and even more respected her. She owned a company that gave work to hundreds, but she herself was rarely seen. People said destiny itself followed her wherever she went. Then there was Chief Kamau, the elder whose voice carried weight like a stone. Children stopped fighting when he appeared. Adults lowered their eyes. His presence alone reminded people that truth always finds its way, even if it walks slowly. All of them were threads waiting to be woven into one story. One morning, Destiny knocked softly on Tun's door. His old phone buzzed with a strange number. "Hello," he answered cautiously. A calm voice replied, "Tun Domotosho, you have been selected for an interview. A position has opened. Arrive before noon." Tun nearly dropped the phone. "Thank you, sir. I will be there." He rushed to his mother. "Mama, the job I prayed for, it's here." Mama Folake smiled, but her eyes dimmed with worry. "My son, sometimes the road you take will test your heart before it blesses your life." Tund laughed gently. "Mama, today nothing will distract me. I swear it." But she placed her hand over his chest. A distracted heart is not the only danger. Destiny hides in people, even strangers. Still, he tried to push the fear away. "I will return with good news." He stepped out of the house, but the world shifted the moment he crossed the doorway. The wind rose sharply, swirling dust around his feet. Leaves flew as if chased by unseen hands. The air carried a voice that didn't speak with words, only feeling. Mama Folake gasped. "The ancestors are watching. Today, your shadow will choose your path." Tund froze. He felt something old, deep, and powerful, moving around him. It was as if the day itself had opened its eyes. Then he continued his walk, trying to steady his heartbeat. But the narrator's voice fell over the scene like an elder whispering beside a fire. Destiny does not always come with thunder or lightning. Sometimes it waits on the road, wearing the face of a stranger. And on this day, Tun's steps were leading him toward an encounter that would change his life forever. The wind settled.